Now it's on.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
I'm ready. Good afternoon. It's very nice to see everyone in person today, even if we're wearing our masks, and I would like to call the meeting to order. Joy, could you please take the roll?
Director Aguilar? Director Kale?
Yes, here.
Director Espinoza? Director Faria?
Here.
Director McDaniel?
Present.
Director Nagy?
Present.
Director Pereira?
Yeah, we're gonna start it.
Director Pedroso?
Here.
Director Serrato?
Here.
Director Silvera? Chair Hoag?
Here.
Director Pereira?
If you will please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Where's the flag? Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay. So, hey. Oh, there we go. All right, so we go to number 2, which is approval of the agenda. Do any of the directors have any comments on the agenda? And if not, can we have a motion to approve?
Also move. Second.
All those in favor? Oh,
Oh, no.
oh, sorry. We're going to have the roll call. Sorry.
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Pedroso? Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes. Hear us, please. Can you please call his vote again?
Director Kale?
I'm sorry, just
No,
Director
just-
Pereira.
There we go.
Director Pereira?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to move into public comment. Public comment is now open to anyone to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Stacy, have we received any public comments on the phone or in email today?
No, we have not.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment to the board today? Being none, we will move on. Citizens Advisory Committee report, Ursula Stock. Good afternoon.
And good afternoon. I'm Ursula Stock, and I've been attending the Citizens Advisory Committee meetings for a little over a year now. I moved to Merced with my husband to be near my father-in-law, who's elderly and lives in San Francisco. And so I thought by joining this, I would learn a little bit about what's going on in Merced. And I'm learning a lot. There's a lot to learn. So thank you for this opportunity. We approved everything that was presented to us, and that's all in your packet if you're interested. One noteworthy thing is we now have a new chair, and his name is Shane Smith. So keep your eye out for Shane Smith around town. You'll see him. And does anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask? Then we're good to go. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on to item number 5. These items are information items only for MCAG, RWA, and TJPA. These items are for informational purposes and won't be presented by staff unless board members have any questions. Are there any questions or requests from the board? I don't see any. Are there any comments from the public? And do I need to read all of these?
Nope.
Okay. I don't see any. So since they're just informational only, no action is required. So we're going to move on from number 5 and go to number 6. Item 6 is the consent calendar for MCAG, RWA, and TJPA. All of these items can be acted upon with one vote unless the board would like to pull any item for separate consideration. Yes.
I have a question on number 6, the amendment 2. Is that the same thing we're voting on in number 8?
It's an excellent question. The answer is no, and I'm going to invite Nav up. An excellent question, because I asked Nav the same thing when I read the agenda, and so Nav can give us the explanation.
Good afternoon. So the amendment we're doing for the 2021 is basically to program all of our carryover and current year's allocation. The next item that you'll see that Matt will be bringing up is for 21-22, so 2 different fiscal years. Does that answer the question? Perfect.
Thank you, Nav. Okay, so does anybody else on the board have any questions? And is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on any of the items, the consent calendar? Anyone on Zoom? No? Okay. Well, seeing none, then I need to have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Joy, can you call for the roll call?
Can we repeat the second?
Second.
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Yes.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, so now we are moving on to item number 7 is an action item to elect the chair and vice chair for 2021 and 2022 fiscal year, and I'll turn it over to Stacy to walk us through that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a bit of history, as we have a number of new board members. As many other boards, the MCAG board elects a vice chair, a chairperson and a vice chairperson to coincide with the fiscal year. Our governing policies require that the chair and vice chair alternate between a member of the County Board of Supervisors and a representative from one of our 6-member agencies. And that it also requires that any candidate for the chairperson position has to have served 1 year on the governing board prior to being eligible to serve in the agency's chairperson role. So taking those requirements into consideration, in June of 2017, the board developed a chair rotation schedule to help track the rotation of the chair and vice chair positions through the jurisdictions. We have no policy, or nor do our policies, our governing policies stipulate how the Board of Supervisors chooses who their county representative is. That's a process that happens at the county level. But at this time, if we were to follow, which we have since the policy's been in place since 2017, the new chair for the board starting July 1 would be Director Lloyd Pereira, who currently serves as our vice chairman. And our new vice chair would be Director Matt Serrato from the city of Merced. And those nominations are included in the staff recommendation per policy.
If I could, I'd like to I'd like to nominate Director Pereira as our new chair, or put as a nomination on the floor, as well as our vice chair to be Matt Serrato.
I would second that, but I thought that the person that's not here is supposed to always get that tough job. So, but no, I'm just kidding. I would second that.
Okay, so it's been a first and a second. Are we all good with the? You're good with that?
We brought cupcakes.
Yeah.
Okay, then we need to call for the roll.
Do the nominations accept?
Yes. I will gladly turn it over.
I humbly and graciously accept your nomination and I tend to vote yes on your motion.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Only because of the cupcake, though.
All right, Joy. Your turn.
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Aye.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Congratulations. It's been a real pleasure being the chair during a pandemic and having my son's dog in every video of the meetings that we have had. So he's not here today, but it's been really fun. So I've learned a lot. So we're going to move on to the next item. At this time, we'll move to action and discussion items for MCAG. Item 8 is a 4-action item for staff that staff will present separately to the board's consideration. Public comment will be available to each item. So here's item number 8A is a request to approve MCAG's other programs budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022, and I'll turn it over to Nav, who's already at the podium, which needs to be turned on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, directors. Good to see everybody. Mr. Serrato, the mask. I don't know. Okay, now to business. Before you is the MCAG other programs FY 21-22 budget. This program is basically stuff that's outside of the planning department, outside of the wheelhouse of Matt's department. The increase for this year, next year, is $575,000. There's a couple things that cause an increase, but let me go into what our new programs that we're going to be doing, something different. So the first one is to finish the Highway 99 project. As Director McDaniel is part of that program, especially to participate in value-wide efforts to finish the segment of Highway 99 through advocacy work. Caltrans, make sure we get the money. So let's just go into what causes the increase. If you go into page 95 of our budget, the biggest increase is on salary and benefits, and that's in the tune of $581,000. But most of these costs are passed through. So like the RWA budget, you guys will just pass. YARS budget was passed, and so is TJPA's budget that was passed last month. So the biggest increase is for salaries and benefits, which constitute of health benefits, merit increases, along with retirement. The other thing that we're incorporating in our budget is government board retreat for next year. That's also in this budget, which if you look at professional services, that is an increase of $8,100. Everything else is in line from last year. We do have a decrease in our professional services in the tune of $5,200, but that's what basically causes our increase of $575 is basically the salary and benefits for our other agencies, which are pass-through costs. That concludes this presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Anyone on the board have any questions? Okay, I'd like to open it up to public comment. Are there any public comments for NAV? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve item 8A?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Joy?
Director Kale,
Yes.
Director Faria,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
Aye.
Director Nagy,
Aye.
Director Pereira,
Aye.
Director Pedroso,
Aye.
Director Serrato,
Yes.
Chair Hoag.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8B, you say that really fast, is a request to approve the fiscal year 2021-2022 overall work program amendment, and that is with Matt Fell. So go for it.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Good to see everybody. This board did approve the fiscal year 21-22 budget in April, and at that same time, there were a couple conversations bubbling in terms of some additional work that would be prudent to do soon. And we had a discussion with the Technical Review Board about a regional non-motorized plan, and they're in favor of doing such a thing. So some of the jurisdictions have plans that address their own city, but a regional plan addresses connectivity throughout, and especially in the unincorporated areas and the connections between all of our communities. And one of the big reasons to do this is because of the state has been putting lots and lots of money into the active transportation program, as I'm sure you're all aware. And so there's a lot of money out there, and having a good plan is really a springboard to competing for those funds. So that's the one piece. And then the other is a study to look at making a case for J59 north of Snelling to be a state highway. And this would be a 3-county effort. And we have the planning funds, which we've talked about over the last couple of years. So we feel like it would make sense to pay for this study, and Stanislaus and Tuolumne County would participate in developing information to make the case for the state to take this on. And it's really will hinge on looking at those inter-regional connections, because the firefighting equipment that goes up and down 59 and all of the inter-regional traffic, it's not just, it's not traffic from Snelling, up 59. There's a lot of pass-through traffic there. So the purpose of the study would be to make that case. So what the request is to amend the 21-22 budget, and we did get a clarification from Caltrans that this action, if you make this action today, that's sufficient for them to do this amendment. We were a little unsure if we needed to do, get the direction to prepare an amendment, but NAV has cleared that up. And with that, if you have any questions, I could answer those for you.
No one has any questions?
Well, by all means, if NAV cleared it up,
He did. Cleared.
feeling pretty confident about it.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from the public? Anybody on Zoom? Oh, it's just Lloyd.
It's not just Lloyd, it's the incoming chair.
Yeah, that and $5 to get me a Starbucks.
Director Pereira is the only person on virtual.
Oh, okay. Well, is there any public comment out there? Seeing none, then I need to have a motion to.
Madam Chair? This is Lloyd. I just wanted to share just a little bit on the J59, CA59 study. We're working with Stanislaus and Tuolumne County as well. So I think it'll be a good kind of project for all of us. And so I'll move that we approve this item. Thank you. And the overall work program as well.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Joy, you want to call for the roll call?
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Aye.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so we are moving on to item 8C, is a request to form an executive director performance evaluation subcommittee. And Stacy, you want to comment on that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item was placed on the agenda at the direction of the board following closed session at the May 20th meeting. The purpose of the subcommittee would be to meet with, it's awkward, I don't know if I should refer to myself like in third person, but to meet with the executive director, myself, to conduct a performance evaluation from the last 3 years that I've been in this role. I did put some thought into a suggestion for the subcommittee, which of course is only for the board's consideration. And looking at the composition of what that subcommittee could entail, I'm proposing the current chairperson, it would be Director Hoag. The current vice chairperson would be Director Pereira. The immediate past chairperson would be Director McDaniel, who probably had the bulk of the time during my last 3 years, because he also served as the Arts Board, but also a director that serves on the Arts Board, which is another entity that we administer, and that would be Director Silvera. And then because it would have a heavy tip in the balance towards the county, I would suggest one at-large director would be Director Aguilar, as that group would constitute the members on the board who served on the board during the last 3 years of my contract, as this would be an evaluation of my performance over the last 3 years.
Oh, okay. Do we have any comments from the board?
I'm sure. Chair, I do like the composition, the way it's made up, because we have worked with her and with a lot of new members, not that it's against any of the new members, but being that we have been in the locked arm position going through this. But if you need a motion, I would motion the staff recommendation on this item.
Let's get, is there anybody in the public that would like to comment upon putting together a subcommittee? And seeing none, then we will accept your motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Nope. Okay. Stacy, you want to take roll?
I'm sorry.
Joy, sorry.
Go by the direction of the chair.
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Aye.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, are we gonna, since we have this group together, are we gonna set a timeline that they should have this completed by? So that it doesn't, we don't lose it like the last one got lost?
Okay. Do we need to put a timeline together?
By the next meeting.
That's up to you. How about if August?
August. Okay, August.
August? Works for me.
As the maker of the motion, I would add that to my motion. If
Okay.
you feel proper, if the second to the motion would accept.
Okay, I'll add that to your motion.
Yes.
I'll make the motion to add to your motion. In the ocean. Sorry.
All right. Do we need to have another roll call, or are we good? Did we do the roll call?
Yeah,
I thought we did. Okay.
Sorry, since we already did do a roll call vote on the original motion, let's just make that a sidebar and not take a formal action. We will make sure that it comes back in August.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so then we're moving on to item 8D, which is a proposed agenda item for consideration regarding the creation of subcommittee to discuss homelessness. Stacy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item is what, for our newer board members, is considered what we call a proposed agenda item for consideration. Per our agenda item request policy, directors or staff or any item can be added to the agenda for discussion, and it would require an affirmative vote of the board to provide staff direction on next steps should the board make that determination that there's a majority of interest to pursue whatever that topic would be. In this instance, the item was placed on the agenda at the request of Director Pedroso at the last meeting, so I will turn it over to Director Pedroso to further discuss his topic.
Thank you. This is something that we've discussed quite a bit, and being that this board represents, all of the county and has policy decision makers from across the county, one of the things that as MCAG member agencies, one of the biggest things we hear most from our constituents is homelessness and what's going on with homelessness and how can we affect change in that. That's continuously one of the top 3 quality of life concerns. And as elected representatives of local governments, how can we address this issue? Unhoused residents grew by 31% since 2020, the most significant increase in 5 years. Homelessness has risen 84% since 2017. And so the tasks would be, how do we understand the problem and how are we getting to the root of it? So what I'm proposing is that we have at least a subcommittee that looks at the latest homeless count from Continuum of Care, which John Checkley, who's one of our management analysts, who I call the homelessness czar from Merced County, has all that information. And this would be something that it wouldn't necessarily, MCAG wouldn't, it would allow for us to just have the discussion. Since we're here, it would allow for us to have the discussion, provide a platform. The county CEO and John have said that they're willing to take this on and provide the information to the questions that we have. And so, again, it just provides us a platform and an opportunity to meet. We would review any data indicating where homeless are coming from. Is it true that homeless persons are coming here from outside the county? New Directions has data on this based on interviews with local homeless. Why is our homeless problem so much more evident than other communities such as Turlock? Is there something that they're doing differently that we can replicate? Again, this allows for us to have the conversation as elected officials in the county. What we would do as elected officials, there are the potential role is, do local housing and planning subject matter experts have recommendation? Is it policy related, meaning zoning, housing element update, etc.? Is it budget related? In our role as elected officials, are there conversations we should have with our state and federal representatives that would help? Again, it goes to policy related, budget related. Is there something we can do? And how can we assist? I don't want this to be in conflict with the role of Continuum of Care and the stakeholders of Continuum of Care. I want this to be in conjunction or partnering with them to get this discussed and have us talk about it, because I think it's important, especially since we all deal with it. I think COC does a great job, but and I know that there are positions open on COC, and I've talked to Mayor Serrato about this, and I'm willing to help out with that. But I think us as electeds, that it would be important for us to really kind of take this as a regional approach. What I would look for with this subcommittee is that we would have at least 4 meetings per year, so that we could at least talk about some of these issues. And then we could provide a report at least once a year summarizing findings and group recommendations. I think it's something that, again, being that we as an organization get to meet, once a month. This is something, like I said, that impacts all of us. And so if we can, help COC and maybe provide some sort of direction on what we're seeing in our communities move forward, I think would be very beneficial. So I'm willing to answer any questions.
Okay, as a member of another committee that's doing that, I'm pretty sure that Adam Gray already has a committee that's put together that's trying to address the same thing. So you don't want to repeat, or maybe you want to meet in conjunction with. I'm just suggesting that he has a committee already formed, and it's formed out of several of the same people that you're wanting to meet. So. Just saying.
Yeah, and I have a question. So I think we have to approach this cautiously because we have a lot of other issues like water and other subcommittees that we could form. And so I'm just trying to think, is this just for information sharing? Because what kind of decisions is the subcommittee going to be deciding to bring to this body to make a decision on?
Well, I think it's information. It really is. It would be information. We're not really deciding. We're just providing the information. We can say, hey, this is what we've seen in our communities, and we can take it. And I understand with Assemblymember Gray's committee that he's put on, but this is more, something here that we can provide to COC and say, hey, this is some of the stuff that is going on that's happening. We're not making any decisions here. We're taking the information and we're able to look at it and boil it down and say, hey, this is how it's affecting us. This is what we think. Work in conjunction with Assemblymember Gray and COC and say, hey, this is what we're seeing across the county.
Oops. Okay. Do you have any questions? Other questions? Other comments? Is this an action item?
The way this would work is that we would need a motion that would include specific direction to staff and then an affirmative vote to support that motion. But there is no staff recommendation to take. It would be based on the product of the discussion that's happening.
Okay.
Josh, just so I better understand, there's the regional planning committee. I think the next meeting's Friday the 25th, I think, next Friday, for the kind of Adam Gray-led committee. Kingdom of Care as well, what the cities do on their part, the county as well. So there's just, and then all the nonprofits, right? There's, I'm telling you, you know all this already, but just all the different groups that kind of work together. How would you imagine this would fit within all that? And kind of what are you asking of the subcommittee? Just to gather information, report back to this board?
Correct. And that's what I would be asking, is just to gather information. And so that we can, we have these other boards, okay, these other groups that are doing it. It'd be to gather information because sometimes there's something that comes up that we don't all hear about or that we don't all know about.
Would there be staff work involved?
No. The staff work that would come out of the county. John Checkley has said, and Jim Brown has said that they would provide that information. Okay. So this is just providing an opportunity for us to get together to discuss these issues and then report back out. Because currently we don't have that. I mean, I know that there's committees that are meeting, but do we have that information? Is that information reported back out to us?
Like Lloyd's raising his hand over there.
Yes, I see. Lloyd, go ahead.
All right, thank you. This is a tough one for me, but I think it would probably be better use of time if we got a quarterly update from John Checkley, rather than having another committee and meeting, and then that committee then reporting to the board. It might make more sense to just invite, John Checkley or whoever it might be, right? The Sargis from the New Direction Center to come, or even Matt Serrato could provide an update to the MCAG board. I can't see Matt's face on the picture, so I don't know if he's smiling or not.
Wait, I don't know.
But anyways,
That makes
I
a good
just
point. I think there's.
add one more.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Well, I just want to say, I think adding one more layer of gathering information is, is probably a task that's already being done, and it would be simpler for us to just get a report out from someone once a quarter, if that's what the board chooses. That's my thoughts.
Okay. It seems like a good source to me. I mean, as Lloyd's on the COC board, I'm the board chair of the COC as well. A lot of this is out there. So in terms of information gathering and investigating, it seems like we all kind of do that in our regular roles to begin with, and we should. But I think, to Josh's point and what Lloyd said as well, I think there's a lot of value in having this body together, just at least discussing the issue. So I think, we got all the supervisors and all but one of the mayors here, so I think it's important to have that information in front of this and maybe have a discussion here at this level. I think there's certainly value in that, whether it's a report from John Checkley, whether it's a report from the COC board, and then all of us can kind of share what's going on in our cities. I know there's been quite a bit of change in the last year as well, especially with the pandemic and with, all the how that's exacerbated the homelessness crisis in so many ways as well. But so I'd support it as well. I think, and I'm happy to help work on it. I think I do quite a bit of that already in my other role. So, I mean, if you need somebody to work with you on a subcommittee, I'm happy to do it. But I think, to me, Lloyd's point, where there's maybe a quarterly discussion without staff work and without us really having to go do a lot of investigative work, because that works there already. To me, there's a lot of value in that. So I'd certainly support that if that's kind of where you're at. But
And I would support that. Again, it's just allowing for us to have the conversation, being that we're all in the room, because like you said, and thinking about it, these meetings are taking place and a lot of it is happening, but the fact that we are here once a month, if we did it quarterly so that at least we can all be on the same page, so that when we go back to our residents, we can talk about, hey, this is what's going on and this is what's happening, type thing.
yeah, it's the biggest issue facing our community and probably the number one issue in the state of California. I think, yeah, there's value in this board hearing it, and there's especially with the composition of this board. So.
Madam Chair, I just have one clarifying question, because I know we've had a lot of the virtual dais discussion and off the dais discussion about the length of our meetings already in general. So I just want to be very clear on the direction specifically on a quarterly meeting or a quarterly item. Is the idea to have it as part of the regular agenda here, or we also do like workshop style where it's a different date, but it's the same board, it functions the same, but it's more targeted and focused, and then it's dedicated to that topic? Either one works. I just want to be sensitive, because I know we've been in this trying to make our agendas a little more streamlined, and we can certainly do it either way. I just wanted to get that clarification so I didn't make an assumption.
Or start early.
We also can do a 2:00 start time on these meetings. We often do that for like a workshop at 2, meeting starts at 3, versus having it on the regular agenda from 3 to usually 5. We're trying to get back to 5.
I would say that I think the whole idea of, I wouldn't say that we need to schedule another meeting. I would say that if we started early and had it, once a month or once a quarter, and being that we're all here, I think that, makes perfect sense.
All right. Are there any other comments from the board? Are there any comments out there in the public? Or Lloyd? Or Lloyd? No?
Well, so I would be willing to make a motion that quarterly we start our meeting 30 minutes early to discuss homelessness. And well, I guess actually, I mean, this is to put an item on the next agenda to discuss that. But can it be more specific, or should it be general?
The item on the agenda that was disclosed to the public, the purpose of the agenda is to give notice to the public as to what is going to be discussed today. It was a proposed agenda item. So for Brown Act purposes, I would recommend bringing an item back to confirm today's discussion, to start the meetings at 2:30 quarterly.
With the purpose of discussing homelessness, yeah.
Okay, then I need to have a motion that states that, what she said.
Be, to direct staff to add an item to next month's agenda that would support a 2:30 meeting start time quarterly to specifically discuss homelessness.
I will make that motion.
Second.
All right, Joy?
I'm sorry. Who made the motion and who second?
I made the motion.
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
No.
Director Pereira?
Yes.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on to item 9. These are discussion items, and we have one, and it is a Caltrans report. Do we have anybody from Caltrans? Well, hello. Well, come on up and state your name.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, directors of the board. Dennis Agar, Caltrans District 10 Director. Happy to be here this afternoon to give a Caltrans update. But before I do that, I also want to recognize that I did bring my Deputy for Planning and Local Assistance here, so you can all see him as well. We're going to tag team as we normally do virtually, if you guys don't mind that. But in the future, at least one of us will be here in future board meetings. Let me just start with just some statewide updates in Caltrans regarding our efforts of getting back outside of the telework environment and into the offices. Even though California has opened up, we're still waiting for direction from our California Human Resources, CalHR offices. But at the same time, we are putting together our return to office plan. And in District 10, in the counties that we are responsible for, we should have our plan ready to go by this September. So in the next couple of months, we'll have our staff returning back to the offices, and then we'll also be providing opportunities for telework from the lessons learned we had during this pandemic. So there's advantages we can take on this effort, so we're looking towards that. But I do want to make it clear that regardless if we're teleworking or not, we are here to provide that customer service, and if there's any in-person meetings that we need, we will be there to attend in person. Like Marlon and I are doing today. So we definitely look forward to opening up Caltrans statewide as well. Different districts have different timeframes, and ours is September. Just other updates, we're here in the summer and the heat is upon us, and we're ready for the fire season, and we're hoping not to repeat or even expand to what last year we've suffered. But Caltrans and our maintenance workers have been working this last couple of months in preparation of that, clearing our roads and our debris, and especially in high fire danger zone areas, and making sure that we keep up with our fire strips. So we have been doing that and ready to respond in case there are fires within our state system. Again, we also are continuing our efforts on litter. That is a big statewide issue. We know that here in District 10, we're working down the valley, up in the foothills. We're dedicating staff twice a month. We have emergency contracts to continue with that litter. However, as you all know, the governor's proposal includes what they call the Clean California Initiative. That's $1.5 billion for the next 3 years to really be focused on not just litter, but beautification of our public spaces. 1/3 of that $1.5 billion will be going to cities, counties, transit agencies, tribal organizations as well. And we're looking forward to partner with all our cities and our counties across the state to make sure we implement the Clean California initiative as soon as that budget gets assigned. Again, we're looking forward to that. I'm actually redirecting staff to prepare for that. I'm actually having some staff even be dedicated on this effort, and you will be reached out from my office in the next couple of weeks to let you know what our plan is and how we could coordinate and work on, I hope, partnership projects to beautify both the state and the rest of the public spaces along our highways. So we look forward to that. The other thing that we continue to work on, and I know this is very important, we heard earlier about the Finish 99 corridor, and here in Caltrans District 10, we're very supportive of that effort. We know that we are sponsoring a State Route 99 Summit this coming September. We hope we can keep it on that month. It's going to be in person, and we're developing our draft agenda to make sure that we all meet our expectations on the outcomes of that summit. And that's really to talk about, not just how we're going to finish 99, but how we're going to leverage the dollars that are available today, whether it's federal or state, especially with the change of priorities, right? We have the cap tie, which I think you guys got an update in your last board meeting. And we have SB 7043 that we have to deal with as well. So along with that, we're hoping to have this summit and hopefully get us to that direction of where we can have a good plan and how we're going to leverage these dollars that are going to be available to all of us here in the next couple of years and finish up 99. So I know we got a long way on that, and again, we continue to look forward to working with all of you to make that happen. And I know that once we get the draft agenda, and this is for your executive director, Stacy, we'll be reaching out to you for your input as well before we finalize it. So I'm just going to stop right there and ask Marlon if he doesn't mind come up and give any other additional reports for Caltrans.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Marlon Regis Ford, District 10 Planning Deputy. Thank you to the board. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Director. I will be brief. Have a couple things I wanted to add on. And I do also want to commend the board and MCAG for the overall work program. Very much appreciate and look forward to a future coordination. So just wanted to mention that. First of all, I do want to mention our Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. We are getting ready to kick off our Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, which we're calling BPAC. This should be at the beginning of next fiscal year, so hopefully in July. And this is based on our Caltrans Active Transportation Plan as well, which we're finishing up on. That should be completed at the end of June as well. So we are currently circulating our draft charter for that, and we encourage participation from any folks in mind that have interest in bicycle pedestrian advocacy and increased safety and connectivity and accessibility. So please do reach out. We have our active transportation coordinator, Mr. Charles Carroll. He is happy to coordinate with anyone. He'll be chairing that committee. You can also contact myself with any information on that committee as well. Regarding our California State Rail Plan, we are drafting that. Our headquarters, Caltrans, is currently drafting that. It will be available for public review later on this year, around October and December, and we'll have more details to the board to provide as appropriate. Did want to mention a couple of call for applications. I'm sure, Stacy, you might know about these, but Transit Intercity Rail Capital Funding Program, we call it TIRCEP. This is projected for summer 2021. The applications will be coming out then, and they will be due late 2021. So basically, the fall of this year, and we will anticipate CalSTA award announcements into next year. That should be in April of next year. So we will also provide more information as we receive it as well. Federal Aviation Administration, we also have a call for applications going on right now. And this call for applications is until July 9th of this year, so roughly a couple more weeks. And this is really to help out with mitigating aviation impacts on noise, air quality, and water within 5 miles of the airport. And this is open to private sector, it's open to general public, it's open to private educational research organizations, and state local government as well. And these must be located in the United States. If you need more information on this program opportunity, this is also on our Caltrans website. You can email me as well if you need more information. And this is also on the Federal Register website as well. Lastly, for calls for applications, we do have our California Regional Park Grant Program, from the State Parks and Rec. And this is to support health-related and economic goals. This is funded by Prop 68, and the applications are due. It's already out, but they will be due November 5th of this year. More information is on the state parks website, parks.ca.gov. And same eligibility as the aviation grant, basically. Counties, state, regional agencies, nonprofit organizations, but not private businesses for these. Actually, I have one more call for applications. The State Air Resources Board grant. This is a freight and marine grant that's now open. It's a $34 million pot that's available, first come, first serve. And it's basically as a result of the Volkswagen environmental mitigation that you may have heard of in the past. This application call is due on September 22nd of this year, and more information is located on the state website, californiavwtrust.org. I also want to just mention briefly local traffic advisory. Some of you may have already heard, but I will mention it. There is a pavement rehab project going on Route 140 in Merced, and this is from Cypress Way to East Santa Fe Avenue, just east of Route 99 in Merced. And we're doing some curb ramp adjustments, as well as rehabbing the actual roadway itself and providing additional pedestrian mobility. And so we are beginning to this project will be beginning next week, actually. So if you're out and about on 140 east of Merced, you will see some action there. The construction will complete in September of this year, so just FYI. And lastly, I did want to highlight Director Pereira, you did mention a few things last meeting regarding maintenance, and I did want to let you know that our maintenance team is looking into that at the moment. Hopefully we'll have more update for next meeting for you. With that, if there's any questions, thoughts, I'll pass it back to the board. We appreciate the time.
Director McDaniel?
Hey, thanks for coming. It's good to see everybody face to face. It's a pleasure. I did have one request for the 99 meeting that we have. Let's make sure we schedule that at 9 a.m. sharp in Fresno, and that they all have to travel to 99 on the way to the meeting. I'd love for them to experience that commute, especially through Madera and Merced. And now we're starting to feel the effects coming through Atwater as well. So that's one. And second of all, I know Caltrans, and you guys have been very good at this, but we have a homeless encampment in the city of Atwater there on Atwater Boulevard. I did see Caltrans and CHP there. I saw them cleaning the facility, it looked like, a little bit. And I was just wanting to know, because those folks are really, literally digging in to that embankment there where the bridge, the overpass is right there. And I just want to know what steps Caltrans taking, maybe not just for that one, but I heard there was kind of a pause for a while, and just wanting to get an idea maybe what's going on with some of those.
Yeah, thank you, Director Daniel. Let me remove this so I can speak properly. So the pause, and this has been since the pandemic, and I hate to say it's a pause, we are focused on addressing the homelessness encampments that we have within our state right-of-way. We did do an effort to make sure we can prioritize them, and what we're calling level 1, level 2, all the way down to level 4. Level 1 being the highest as far as emergency, lives are at stake, and we go out there immediately and remove the encampments. And then the other level 2 is where we have at least I have the authority to go ahead and make the arrangements to, and again, the effort is to still try to keep them and give them and offer them emergency shelters. That's the first thing we got to do. But at the same time, if it does become a safety concern, then we take immediate action, and we still have to post it according to our policy. And we follow all those rules, but we still continue to take care of these encampments appropriately, working with all our partners. I know we've been working with the city of Merced. We appreciate that partnership. I have my own District 10 task force on homelessness, litter, and encampments, and hopefully and our team has been working with your team to identify those high priority areas. So the one in Atwater would definitely go back and look at that. If it is where they're affecting our infrastructure and becomes a hazard for the traveling public and themselves, then we will take immediate action and start moving them out of there.
And a second thing I've observed there, because the Union Pacific Rail is right there at the base of that encampment, folks are actually parking on the Atwater Boulevard side and crossing the tracks. I've seen as many as 3 cars with people crossing the tracks to get, I don't know what, I don't judge. I don't know what's going on in the encampment, but folks are visiting and they're crossing those tracks. And I could just, the trains come through there. Union Pacific doesn't really slow down into the city areas. So that could definitely be a problem at some point, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Director Pedroso.
Same thing with 13th and G Street here in Merced. There's a huge encampment over there that it's right on the entryway to the freeway, and people are kind of coming and going, and there's a lot of people. I mean, people are parking cars over there, and it's pretty dangerous. So.
Okay. They're well aware. We've been in discussions with them.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we don't have it on our list, I'm sure we do, but I will confirm with my team, and I'm sure we'll reach back out to the city and making sure that we have those things planned out.
Yeah, it's been a big source of discussion between us and Caltrans for a while, so I can share with you offline some of the updates.
Oops. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Oh, Director Nagy.
I've been asked to ask, now that you're getting back to the office and so forth, I guess we've seen some lag times in turnarounds on submittals and so forth. Will that iron itself out as you get back on in the office?
And our strive is always to make it seamless and that there is no delays. It's regardless, again, if we're teleworking or not teleworking. So there is always that transition when you come back to the office. But we definitely like to be informed if that's the case, if it's not going within our normal process. I know there is, again, efficiencies when we do telework and have those when you're just there all day and working straight hours. But at the same time, when you do have to make the travels back and forth to the offices and meetings, there may be a slight delay, but it shouldn't be significant. But definitely open, if there's any concerns of that nature, please let us know.
Thank you. And I'd like to reiterate that it's good to see you folks in person. So thank you for coming to our meeting.
All right. Thank you very much. And again, I appreciate the partnership that we have.
Although Marlon does have a very good background in his virtual office, and I get jealous of I'm like, is that his apartment? That's pretty amazing.
I just want to, just on your point, Director Nagy, I do have some specifics, I think, on some projects in Gustine that I'll follow up. The intention of what I wanted to say, though, to start was just thank you. I wanted to publicly thank both of you. Your team is excellent. I'm emailing you, as you know, all the time about, hey, I'm hearing this issue or that issue, and it's rarely a full work day that passes that I don't have some kind of response, and then shortly thereafter, some interim or even full-time conclusion. So I just wanted to thank you both. And it's nice to officially see you, Marlon. It's strictly been virtual, so nice to see you in person. Mm-hmm.
You're much taller in person.
You are. Yeah.
Okay, with that, we will move on. Thank you very much, and it's nice to see you. We are moving to item number 10. These are action items. For the Regional Waste Management Authority action and discussion items. Item 10 are action items, like I just said, and we have 2 that will be presented by staff. Item 10A is a request to adopt the final fiscal year 2021-2022 operating fleet and capital budget, and that would be NAV. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everybody, again. Since the last workshop, nothing has changed, so what I'm going to do is just going to summarize our budget, and if you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. So for operational budget, we are increasing our revenues by 20%, which equates to $2.6 million. On the same tune, we are also increasing our operating expense by 13%, which is $1.2 million. We are presenting no COLAs in this budget, also no addition of staff. In our fleet purchase, we're looking at 2 loaders, a van spotter, a Kubota RTV X900, a dozer, and 2 roll-off bins. And then on our CIP projects, we are requesting a $9.4 million additional projects for fiscal year 21-22. The biggest one is the construction of cell 6B2, which equates to about $6.8 million, more than 80% of the total amount. And then the other one is Highway 59 burn box construction of $1 million. So that concludes the operating, fleet, and CIP projects. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, nobody has any questions? And you look like you have a question. Somebody has a question. They're laughing. You've got a question. Now, do you have a question? Okay, there's something going on here. How about any questions from the public? Yeah. All right. Then we need a motion to approve his final fiscal year budget of 2021-22 operating fleet and capital budget.
So moved.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
All right. Joy?
Director Kale?
Yes.
Director Faria?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
Aye.
Director Nagy?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Aye.
Director Pedroso?
Aye.
Director Serrato?
Yes.
Chair Hoag?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Good work, Neb.
All right, so now we are on to item 10B. This is an action item related to the property damage and personal injury claim from Michael Buckley. And I'll turn it over to Christina. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I haven't met a lot of you. I'm the HR and Risk Management Manager here for MCAG, so it's a pleasure to meet you all. But we did receive a claim back in May for an incident that took place at the landfill in Los Banos, the Billy Wright landfill. As you could see, the claim is very vague. There's not a lot of information in it. So what we are requesting is that staff, we are recommending that you enter into an agreement with the claimant to allow for more time to act on this claim. So not to render a decision today, but to allow for more time to investigate and allow insurances to go in and do the work that needs to be done to see where this claim is going. So at this point, we're just requesting that you allow for more time to enter into that agreement.
All right. Are there any questions from the board? There's the claim is right here on page 122.
And I do have copies of the agreement to extend time to act on the claim, which has already been signed by counsel for the claimant, if anyone would like to see it.
Doesn't look like anybody has any questions. Are there any questions out of the public? Lloyd, are you good? Okay. All right, then we need to have a motion to enter into,
The motion would be to enter into the agreement to extend time to act on the claim.
there you go, what she said.
Moved.
Second.
All right, Joy, can you take a roll?
Director Kale,
Yes.
Director Faria,
Yes.
Director McDaniel. Director Nagy. Director Pereira,
Yes, or aye.
Director Pedroso. Director Serrato,
Yes.
Chair Hoag.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, were you going to say something? Oh, okay. Okay. So item 11, there are no discussion items for regional waste management. So we're going to move to item 12, agenda items 12 and 13. There are none. Then there's none in 13. So I'm moving to 14, which is the executive director's report. So Stacy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great to see you all. Welcome back to the dais, or for the first time for some of you, this is your official meeting in person since joining the board, and I hope you enjoy your cupcakes. I just a couple of quick things. These are in your written packets, but I want to draw out the details just to make sure. We have a tire amnesty event coming up on the west side at the Los Banos Fairgrounds on July 3rd. That is free disposal of tires, not including tractor or semi-truck tires. Residents can bring up to 9, but there is a limited capacity. So we like to just make sure folks know to get there early, but we do have a trailer and we have a capacity to fill. And we have all those flyers in English and Spanish if anyone would like them. Also, I want to mention that we are offering free service on the bus for residents going to cooling centers during this heat wave. So if you need any additional information on that, please let us know. I would like to quickly introduce Skylar Summers. Skylar, if you want to raise your hand. He's not new to because he joined us in December, I think, but he is new as this is his first board meeting. He is our assistant transit manager, specifically for maintenance, and has been doing an excellent job bringing a lot of those duties in-house, both in just maintaining our facilities, but also helping with the oversight of maintaining our 2 fleets. So he is a new face that you probably didn't see on Zoom, so I just wanted to make sure you got to know him. And then lastly, I do just want to thank Chair Hoag. It has been a whirlwind of the last 6 months, but I think we got in rhythm pretty quickly. So thank you for your leadership and your willingness to step into this role. And I look forward to the next fiscal year and the incoming chair, Director Pereira, and our vice chair, Director Serrato.
I can introduce the staff, the chair, because there's folks who have never been here.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick round robin of the folks that are here for our new board members. Mary Michael Rawling is our public affairs manager. Matt Fell is our deputy director for planning. You know the character Nav Bagri, our finance director. Stephanie Jackson is my executive assistant. Know her, get her phone number, call her. She is amazing. She will find me no matter where I am. You just met Christina Hernandez for HR. Skylar, there's Christine Chavez, our transit manager, and then Alicia Ochoa-Jones, and I never get her title right, but it's purchasing or procurement manager with those words in it. She handles all of our procurement. She's almost a one-woman show and handles everything for all of our agencies. Did I miss anybody? And Joy. Thank you. Joy Young is our Jill of all trades, but she serves as clerk to the board for this purpose, also our administrative assistant, and also is a number to have on your cell phone. Joy and Steph. Thank you.
Okay. Should I go down the row, or
You can open it up or go down there.
do you want to raise your hand like we did in Zoom? Okay. Start on this end. Okay. Nothing for you? Director Kale?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Director McDaniel?
Nothing for me.
Okay. And who's sitting next to you? There.
Director Freya.
I just want to say thanks for the extra service with the microbus service over there on the west side. We very much appreciate it. Thank you for the excellent presentation the other night, too.
Director Nagy?
I'd just like to thank Director Hoag for, the Zoom meetings are a lot harder to oversee than in-person meetings, and you did a great job.
Well, thanks.
So, thank
That's
you.
my teacher in me.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to talk to 18 kids that don't show your face. And I know, I see Lloyd. Director Perea?
You treat us like your kids.
Lloyd?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
So first of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues here for having enough faith in me to be your chair for next year. I know it is a bit of a formality. However, if I was real bad, I'm sure you would have nominated somebody else. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Stacy for kind of, her and I have had some conversations over the last month of plans for the next year, and I just appreciate her attention to detail. And then I want to share with everybody, we created a 5-member committee to do her evaluation. But and it's, we spent more time with her, so it kind of makes sense. But everybody has interacted with Stacy, and at some point we will ask for everybody's opinion, I hope, so that you can all have your input, because everybody should say what they like, or maybe even things that could be improved. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that after our vote earlier. Thank you.
Emily, do you have anything? No. Okay. And so with that, I would like to say thank you so much for having me as chair. It's a lot of responsibility, and I think that I kept it a little bit entertaining, to say the least. So I am glad that my last meeting was an in-person meeting, and it was very nice to see everyone here today. I am going to, at this time, the governing board will go into a closed session, and then we will ask council to read the closed session item. Oh, before I do, are there any other comments or public, anything out there? No? See, you're just like my kids on my Teams meeting. Nothing, it's crickets. Okay, all right, so with that, we are going to go into closed session, and thank you so much. Try to keep cool out there.
You go ahead.
Okay, we are returning to open session, and Emily is going to take it away.
The board unanimously approved entering into the employment agreement with the executive director on the terms reported out of closed session at the May meeting.
Okay. Congratulations, Stacy. Very excited. Okay, and thank you so much. All right, so with that, we are going to adjourn our first meeting after a pandemic at, I don't have the right time, 4:24. And thank you so much for coming, and be safe out there with the heat. There you go.
Last one, Nathan.
I really wanted to say thank you.